In a quiet corner of the city's overcrowded animal shelter, there was one cage everyone avoided. Inside sat Titan, a large German shepherd with piercing eyes and a growl that could rattle even the bravest workers. His reputation echoed through the hallways. Aggressive, unpredictable, untouchable. Signs warning, "Danger, do not approach," were plastered across his kennel. Volunteers whispered stories about him, tales of even the most experienced handlers leaving his cage shaken and bleeding. To many, Titan wasn't a rescue dog anymore. He was a ticking time bomb. Days turned into weeks, and people stopped even glancing in his direction. Titan sat there alone, snarling at the world, a lost soul. Everyone had quietly given up on him. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. The shelter staff tried everything they could. They brought in behavior specialists, professional trainers, and even rescue groups from out of town. But Titan refused them all. He wouldn't accept treats. He wouldn't respond to kind words or whistles. Whenever someone dared approach, he would bare his teeth and let out a low growl that froze them in place. One of the older volunteers, Mrs. Carter, who had worked with troubled dogs for over 30 years, shook her head sadly one evening as she locked Titan's cage. "That dog's been broken by someone real bad," she muttered. Titan's body bore the evidence of a hard life. Small burns along his side, an old injury that made him limp slightly, and eyes filled with a haunting mix of fear and fury. One rainy afternoon, when the shelter was almost empty, a little girl named Lila walked through the doors holding her father's hand tightly. She couldn't have been more than 7 years old. But unlike most kids her age, Lila wasn't there looking for a cute puppy. She was there for a friend. Any friend. As they walked past the rows of barking dogs, Lila stopped suddenly in front of Titan's cage. Her father tugged her hand gently. "Not that one, honey. He's not safe." But Lila didn't move. She stared straight into Titan's fierce, defensive eyes. And for the first time in a long while, Titan didn't growl. He just stared back, silent and still. Lila knelt down in front of his cage, pressing her small hand gently against the metal bars. No words, no sudden movements, just quiet understanding. The shelter staff watched in stunned silence as Titan, the untouchable dog, inched a little closer to the bars. It was as if two broken souls had recognized something familiar in each other. From that moment on, Lila begged her father to let her visit Titan every day. Though he was hesitant, seeing the determination in her eyes convinced him. So every afternoon after school, rain or shine, Lila would sit by Titan's cage. At first, the staff placed a chair a few feet away for safety. Lila didn't mind. She would sit there, legs swinging, reading aloud from her favorite storybooks, humming soft songs, or simply telling Titan about her day. At first, Titan just listened from the shadows. No growls, no lunges. Just quiet, still listening. As the days passed, his posture softened. The stiffness left his shoulders. The wildness in his eyes dimmed into something gentler, something almost hopeful. Then one afternoon, a miracle happened. Lila dropped her stuffed rabbit by accident, and it rolled toward Titan's cage. Everyone held their breath, fearing the worst. But instead of snarling or retreating, Titan slowly crept forward and sniffed the toy. He didn't attack it. He just sat there, curious. From that day, everything changed. One Saturday morning, Lila arrived early with a small sandwich wrapped in paper. Sitting in her usual spot, she tore off a tiny piece of bread and gently tossed it toward Titan. At first, he only stared at it. The shelter was so quiet you could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Then, painfully slowly, Titan crept forward, sniffed the crumb, and ate it. Tears welled up in the eyes of the shelter manager. It wasn't about the food. It was about trust. Titan had crossed an invisible wall that had trapped him for so long. Each day after that, Titan's walls came down a little more. He began greeting Lila with soft whimpers. He started playing small games, pawing a ball she rolled toward him. He pressed his nose against the bars when she left, as if begging her to stay a little longer. Seeing the bond between them, Lila's parents worked with the shelter to allow Titan some time outside his cage during visits. In a secure yard, Lila would sit on a bench tossing treats and talking to him. Slowly, Titan moved closer and closer until one magical afternoon, he rested his massive head on Lila's lap. Tears streamed down her face as she gently stroked his fur. Lila hadn't just tamed a wild dog. She had healed a broken heart everyone else had given up on. Moved by their incredible bond, Lila's parents completed the adoption process, promising to continue Titan's training and give him all the love and safety he deserved. The day Titan left the shelter was unforgettable. The staff lined up to say goodbye, many wiping away tears. Titan didn't seem afraid anymore. He walked proudly beside Lila, head held high, tail wagging freely for the first time. At home, Titan explored every room before finally settling at Lila's feet, as if he had always belonged there. She hugged him tightly and whispered, "You're safe now, Titan. Forever." Titan had finally found his home. Not just walls and a roof, but real love, real family, and a heart that would never give up on him. All thanks to one little girl who never saw a monster, only a soul worth saving.